Page 16, Railroad Street Blues. This is a blues piece. They don't say anything about the eighth note, so I will play this in a blues style as I understand it, and that means I'm going to swing the eighth notes. So at the beginning, it's written this way. I'm going to play it this way. Different people will say different things. I'm going to point this out on the different things, and you'll have to decide which different thing you're going to do. Take a look at measure 3. It's the last measure of the first line. You have these little notes. Some people will play these before the beat, so the A comes on the beat. So to do the two C's, the two quarter notes before that, it's here. Well, if I play it before the beat, it's this. Leave out the little notes. It's this. And then they just stick the little notes in and leave that where it is. I play those little notes on the beat because there is a way in music notation, if you want, those notes in front of the beat, you put them in front of the bar line, and that tells people to play them in front of the beat. So I would do them on the beat. Now the A is the important one. These others just leading into it. Even though the first little note is on the beat, the accent still goes to the A. Then that happens in various places. I do it the same way every time. Then going on the CA, and then I do a 1-4 for the BG. I want to connect that if I can. That's the melody. And then 5-1 and a 1-4 again. 1-5 and 1-4. It's the melody I'm trying to protect. Here is what I want. I measure 4 and that little grace note. Again, some people play it before the beat. I play it on the beat. You play it however you think is right. So fourth, measure 7. I recommend you play that CA with 1-3 because you're coming on the note before, it's here. For the measure before, and then you come into here. It's the melody. I want to connect it. And then I can use 5 for the 16th notes. And then a 1-3 for the AE, and then a 2 on the E flat, and then you can come on down. The pedal will help you out. Okay, I'm just trying to feel the melody as best I can. However, if that fingering is not working for you, then do what they're telling you to. But if you're going to do that, I would use, if you're going to use 5th finger on the D, on the last beat of measure 7, I'd use 2nd finger on the G sharp. On that. Measure 9, that little grace note, I'm going to play that note with the G. Accidentals, we haven't talked about them, but I'm hoping you understand the rules for accidentals. So at measure 9, once that C sharp is introduced there, all the rest of the C's in that measure are sharped because there's no natural signs. See, they're all sharped, but then when you get to measure 10, the sharp goes away because you crossed a measure line. So now they're C naturals. Make sure you're holding these whole notes and half notes down the whole time. I know the pedals down doesn't matter. You do it with the fingers. So on measure 9, you hold that down the whole thing. And that last C sharp, I'd do that with 4th finger. You learn the piece without the pedal first, so you can hear the notes and hear what your fingers are actually trying to do. And then once you have it, you add the pedal last. Is what don't try and learn this piece with the pedal. It'll throw you off. It really will. It'll mess it up. Speaking from experience on that one. Measure 11. 1-5 fingering there on the A. So immediately, That's the way we want to feel the melody, because we're here, and then in the last measure there, I would do a 1-3, and then put the 5th finger on it. A substitute, a 3-1. The last measure, yeah, is a 3-1 on the E, because you got to hold that down the whole measure as you play these other notes. Right, and it's hard to do. No, 3-5. There you go. Then top page 17, we're back to our little notes again. And again, those C sharps throughout the whole measure are sharped until you get to the next measure. Now they're C natural. Now, we have triplets on measure 15. I'm going to come back to those when I get to the left hand. I want to talk about both hands together, because the two hands, you're doing what's known as a polyrhythm. Poly meaning multiple rhythms at the same time. That happens a lot in piano, so I want to talk about it later. Right now, let's go on to 16, measure 16. We got these 16th notes, but there's 5 of them. Say what? Because 16th notes typically would be a 1E and a 2E and a 3E type, but when you have 5 of them, you have to squeeze 5 notes in the same amount of time where you would have just played 4. So you have to play them just a little bit faster, but get them all in. So you're here. These, of course you're not going to hold them down, but the point is it makes a chord. Nice chord. But now you're holding down the right hand. See, they're tied, not the left hand. And you have to, well, I don't know what you have to do. I tend to feel this. I got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and I experiment with it on the speed I'm going to go. 1, 2, 3. So I play that C on the beat. So it's 1, 2, 3. So the other notes just got to be between those two. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I speed it up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It depends on the speed you're going. If I go 1, 2, that one it's 1, 2, 3. And I just experiment with it to get a feel for those. You're not counting them, is what I'm saying. You're feeling it. And you can take a little interpretive liberty here if you want. It's a blues piece, and you don't have to play them rhythmically even either. You go. And stretch it out a little bit. Stretch, a little rubato here. I haven't talked about rubato. You're stretching it out, the rhythm out just a little bit. You go 1, 2, 3, 4 type thing. It's blues, you feel it. Measure 19, we got these little notes again. And again, I'm going to play that C with here, but the accent in the right hand, the natural accent's going to go with here. And then the 16th notes in measure 20. They're saying a 1, 3, 1, 4. I'm going to go a 2, 3, 1. To me, that's easier. And so it's a 1 and 2 and 3 E and a 4 E and a. So it's a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E. And once you just gradually speed it up once you get there. You're starting it out soft and you're going to crescendo. It's like you're falling down. Got to get the notes first, but that's the idea. Yeah, and the last little bit there, the last couple measures on page 17. Right hand, you're here. Now you don't hold the E flat and the A down, they're just eighth notes here. And then at the end, I'm going to play this broken chord, I'm going to play the C with the left hand A. But I'm going to play all 3 of those notes before I play the second eighth notes. Left hand. Left hand's accompaniment for the most part, so you just got these chords. You're going to have to look down at the keyboard for a while until you can develop a feel for this thing. Eventually, it would be nice if you could learn to do that without looking at the keyboard. Keep in mind, if you have to look down at the keyboard, you're just glancing down at it. You're not studying it. Hopefully you know what it looks like. You're just glancing down to see where your hands have to go, and then back up to the music, because the beat has to keep going. You don't mess that up. Measure 8 on the half note. That rolled chord, you do all 4 notes, 1 note at a time. And I play the A on the beat, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's softly, and then we keep going. Last measure on page 16, left hand. The bottom note is a dotted quarter or dotted half note. Hold it down for 3 counts. And then you hold the D down and play the last note. So you're overlapping. You got 2 voices going. And then go on. Now I want to talk about this rhythm on measure 15. First 2 beats aren't bad. It's 1E and a 2E and a 1E and a 2E and it's when you get to the 3rd beat. Because in the left hand it's just 1 and 2, 3, 4. But in the right hand you got triplets. So the first, on the 3rd beat, they go together, the hands. But after that they're not together anymore. The left hand comes in between the other 2 notes. So it's here. 1 and, so see, it's 2 different rhythms. I got here. Here I go. And that's 2 different rhythms. So I go. So you have, and don't cheat and play them together. Something like that? No. Play the triplets in the right hand. Play them evenly. As best you can. Just work that out. 1, 2. We already talked about measure 16. Both of those hands are doing it. Now the pedal is going to hold everything down, but I'll talk about the pedal in a minute. All right? But right now, you're not hurting anything if you hold them all down with the hands, because that pedal's going to keep them going anyway. It's just not necessary. Because when you play that C, your left hand has to be down here. So you can't hang on to them too long. You got to get down here. At the end, bottom of page 17, last 2 measures. Left hand, you have the rolled chords. At the last 2 beats is rolled chords. We'll play those on the beat. You don't have to hold them all down with the hand. If your hand's not big enough, the pedal's going to take care of it. I just have a habit of doing that because I can reach a 10th. But if you can't, then you just, and the pedal will take care of it. And then that last one, the last measure. I'm going to play these 8th notes straight, even. I'm not going to rock them, because now we are molto ritardando, which means slow down a whole lot. And when you do that, you tend to even out the notes. So that last measure on the 8th notes, I'm going to play them evenly and slow down as I go up and die away. Isn't that cool? I think that's cool. It's a nice contrast to the rocking stuff that's been going on the whole time, and then suddenly we do it even at the end. Ooh, it's cool. Yeah. Well. Now, pedal. I don't know what to tell you about this pedal. They're telling you pretty much legato pedal, everything. You get this. If that's okay with you, you go right ahead. But it seems to me we could take out some of the blurriness, But I'm going to let you experiment with that. So I don't really have any recommendations for you. So I guess I'm just going to pedal it like they're saying, but it's going to be awfully blurry. Just understand that you can, in time, once you know it, you can adjust the pedaling as you want to get the effect you're after, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's hard for me to do this in a video where I'm just kind of showing and explaining. So rather than if you were in front of me, then we could work this out slowly and get the pedaling a little more exact. But right now, just pedal it the way they're saying to. Now the piece doesn't actually go much faster than that, but the idea is if you can understand really the melody and the form of the piece, and it helps to interpret it, and that's really what we're after in this, is interpreting this music. You're starting out with a simple melody, and then you get a response to it, and then you have a variation of that melody, starting at pick up to 5, measure 5. And then a response to that. And then we start a whole nother melody. It's like another section here at measure 9. And then a response to that. And then a variation of that. And then a response to that. And then this little bridge thing to take you back, because this takes you back to the original melody that was at the top of page 16. And its response, and that little lead-in is just leading you into a variation of the melody again. And a lot of times in music, with the last time they present the melody, they will present it or lead into it differently than they've ever done before. And this little thing, it's like getting fancier, and that's what it's about. And then at the end, you have that little answer, that finished. That's like that little tag at the end. It's like the final answer to it. So when you can break it up and you understand what's going, this melody and the answer and melody, and then another melody, and it goes and its variation, it helps to put the whole thing together and make some sense out of it. And you think about these things as you're learning it, and then when you're interpreting it, you keep that in mind as you're playing it. Let's try this out. It's a slow piece anyway, but I'm going to go slower than that. 4/4 time will give us 4 counts. So the right hand is here. Left hand's here. Foot's on the pedal. Here we go. 1, 2, and ready and go. And goes something like this. I'm not sure.